In this tutorial, we're going to solve rational equations. Rational equations are equations that contain rational expressions. As you can see here in our two examples, they contain fractions. That's why we call them rational equations. To solve any equation, we attempt to find the value of the variable that makes the equation true. And we have to remember that we can use any operation to isolate the variable. For as long as whatever operation we use on the left side of the equation, we also use it on the right side. After solving the equation, we must verify if the solutions we found are reasonable. And also remember that division by zero is undefined. And this idea will help us determine whether the solution we found makes sense or not. All right, so let's start solving the equations. So we notice that the denominators are all different. And it's convenient to examine the denominators if they are in factored form. So let us express each of these fractions in factored form. So we'll have 10. So we're not going to factor 10, but we're going to factor the denominators. So we'll have here x times x minus 2 plus 4 over x, because we can't factor x anymore, equals 5 over x minus 2. Now we put the denominators in factored form so that we can see the distinct factors present in all the denominators. And we notice that there are two different factors that we see. And they are, one of them is x, and the other factor is x minus 2. These are the only factors that we find in the denominators. Okay, now it is convenient to look at this equation when the denominators are all the same. So let's make the denominators the same without changing the value of the expressions and without changing the equation, so that the equation will still be equivalent to the original. Now, how do we do that? We can do that by making sure that the denominators contain all the different factors from the fractions. And so that means that we want to make all the denominators to look like this, because this contains all the different factors from the denominators. So the denominator of 10 is already fixed. We don't need to fix it. But the denominator of 4 is missing something. So we need to fix 4 over x. We could say multiply this by x minus 2 over x minus 2. If we do that, the denominator will be x times x minus 2. All right, let's move on to 5. The denominator of 5 is x minus 2, and so it is missing the x. So we multiply this by x over x. If we do that, then we see that the denominator is x minus 2 times x. It contains all the distinct factors that we found in the original equation in factored form. All right, now let's rewrite this. So we'll put here 10 over x times x minus 2 plus 4 times x minus 2 over x times x minus 2 equals 5 times x over, I can switch around these two factors. So I'll have x times x minus 2. All right, now we see that all the denominators are the same. But it's still not easy to solve this equation because the expressions looks complicated. Now, what can we do here? Well, if these denominators disappear, then we will have a simpler equation. So, is there any way we can do that? Well, if we multiply both sides of the equation by the common denominator, then let's see what happens. So if I multiply the left side by x times x minus 2 and the right side by x times x minus 2, what are we going to get? Okay, so if we multiply x times x minus 2 by this fraction, the x times x minus 2 can be canceled. And so we will end up with 10. No more fraction. And if we multiply this by 4 times x minus 2 over x times x minus 2, the x times x minus 2 disappears or gets canceled. So we will have here just 4 over x minus 2 equals. Now if we multiply this by this, we will get 5x only because the denominators will be canceled. So now we have a simpler equation, easier to handle, easier to deal with. So let's solve. So we'll have here 10 plus 4 times x is 4x minus 8 equals 5x. Now we have to isolate the x, so we take away 4x here, take away 4x from the right side, because whatever you do to the left, you have to do to the right. And we're going to end up with 10 minus 8. 10 minus 8 will give us 2 equals 5x minus 4x is equal to x. X is isolated, and therefore we are saying here that the value of x is 2. But we have to verify if this answer makes sense. Does it make sense? Can x be equal to 2? Will x make the equation true? Now we notice that one of the denominator, x minus 2, will become 0 if we plug in the 2 into x. And we said division by 0 is undefined. So it is not possible for x to be equal to 2. So we say that 2 is not a solution. We'll say it's an extraneous solution. So extraneous means it's a solution that we got by using valid reasons, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make the equation true. Therefore, this equation has no solution.